What's up, what's up, what's up, my fellow creators? Welcome, guys. I hope you're having a beautifully, phenomenally blessed day. Thank you for joining me for another moment in Topics with Becky. Today, we are going down the rabbit hole with a topic I know I've talked about many times, but I feel like there's just so much that can be spoken about it that it is okay to talk about it again, and that is sex. But before we get into it, please like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel down below, set that notification bell so you always know when the next video does go live. And guys, I just want to say thank you to all of my OGs, my new Gs, anybody that allows me your most precious asset, your time. It is truly an honor and a pleasure being here, sharing this wisdom with you guys, sharing these videos with you guys. And as always, my prayer is that they do fall upon your heart in a way that reminds you to use your intuition and your discernment and to take back your power so that you can go and live your best journey. So let's go ahead and get into it today, guys. Sex. I wanted to talk about this because recently I had traveled, and in my travels, I actually met up with a 13-year-old, my nephew, and his friend. And what had happened was really entertaining. Like, I realized how young kids are now that are getting involved in very adult things. And I wanted to bring this up not to call out them or anything like that. They're kids. They don't really know any better. It's nothing, where do you learn it from? You learn it from the parents. And so this is to the adults out there. When you guys really think that your kids don't know what it is that you're doing or what it is that you're referring to or what it is that you're talking about, guess again. They really do. And even if they're not learning it from you, they are going to learn it at school. And so isn't it better if as a parent we bring it up and we talk to our children about it? We tell them, hey, this is something that could happen. This is something that you could run into. This is something that might be discussed, but let's discuss it at home. And what I found is that there's a lot of parents that rely on the school to teach their children the things that they're uncomfortable teaching children. And this baffles me because you decided to have a child. Obviously, that comes with some ramifications. One of those ramifications is to ensure that you do educate your child on the thing they probably won't get educated on at school, but that, yes, they will get shown. And it always makes me think of South Park when they did the sexual education episode, if you guys have ever watched that, and how it was like suddenly the kids in fourth grade they needed to be taught at an earlier age. And so the parents came together and like, well, let's start teaching our kids in kindergarten and preschool. And the information that was getting taught was absurd, right? And so that's why I bring this up, because I think that we need to come back into a state where we're not quite so reliant on sex. It's okay. It's a natural thing, right? It's part of the fun of being human. We get to enjoy it, yes. But I think the thing is that we've run into a state where we're such a sexual society that we have a lot of people who are just passing that on. And our kids are getting inundated with this information at an early age, thinking that this is exactly how they need to live their lives. When I was a kid, I was trying to grow up way too soon. My mom was like, you need to be a kid, like go and enjoy it. And yes, I grew up emotionally soon because of the situation that I was in. But it was still like when I got out in the real world, I didn't have any idea as to what it was that was out there. And you might think that they do, but really they don't, because they have no true guidance. So they're gaining guidance from people who have done it before them. So if you have a bunch of 15-year-olds and you have 3 of those 15-year-olds that have had sex, they're going to start telling all their friends, oh, well, I've had sex. Like, why don't you have sex? And then it's this peer pressure. And then without having any guidance, they're being pressured into doing this. So where does the responsibility lie? With us as the adults. And you can't rely on another adult to teach your kid. Like, you don't know what information they're going to give them. Rather than just teaching them about the birds and the bees, they could be teaching your children about BDSM. They could be teaching your children about, furries, they could be teaching them all about the actual act itself rather than just explaining that this is something that we all do. This is something that you can enjoy when you're an adult, but it is an adult practice, right? I think somewhere along the line, our moral bar just kind of went out the window. And you guys can be sitting there like, maybe I don't have kids, but it doesn't mean I don't know what it is to be a parent. Okay, because I have raised kids and I've had to have some really awkward talks with these kids, like so many awkward talks. Like you're just like, man, there's no handbook for this. No, there is no handbook. And anybody saying that there isn't. It really comes down to common sense and the ability to be brave enough to explain these things to these kids. When we have 12, 11, 10-year-olds who are getting involved and they know what fantasies are and they know what fantasy porn is and they know what certain things that, things I didn't even learn about until I was in my 20s and they know about it now. What are we setting up for the future? Because we don't inherit the land from our forefathers. We borrow the land from our children. And if our children are falling into temptations at an early age, we're setting them up for failure just because of a fear of speaking with them. It is uncomfortable. But isn't it better to have a 20-minute talk or a 30-minute talk being in discomfort than it is to spend the next 18 years as a grandma, as a grandpa? Because your child got pregnant, because your child got somebody pregnant. You have children that are raising children, and we're passing on terrible, terrible habits. Because when you have a child who gets pregnant, you're thrust into this adult thing, and yet you have never had an opportunity to learn how to parent yourself. Most of us who are adults, we didn't ever even learn how to parent ourselves. We were just thrust into the life of adulthood, like, figure it out. But we don't have to be like that with the next generation. We don't have to be like that with our kids now. We can open up to this energy of saying, you know what? I am the adult here. I am the one that knows things. And yeah, it isn't the most amazing thing to talk about, but they're your children. You have a responsibility. Their livelihood. To protect them, to make sure that they have the best chance possible. And isn't that them giving them the best chance possible, allowing them the freedom to continue to be a child and to express themselves as they're in school? At least up until they're in high school. I mean, I know in high school you can't really determine what's going to happen, but at the same time, isn't it your job to really ensure that they have a good head on their shoulders? And some of you guys could be like, but, I don't even know. I don't even have it figured out. No, you don't. Nobody does. Nobody does. But that's why, because nobody taught us. Nobody said, hey, look, nobody came up to me and said, hey, Becky, this is what sex is. This is what's going on. This is what could potentially happen. For a long time, I really thought you were going to get pregnant just by kissing. Okay, like let's be real. That's not a good way to live. Why can't we share honestly with our children? Why? And I already hear some of you guys now because they're not old enough to understand. My mom told me my whole life, you're not old enough to understand. I'll tell you when you're older. She told me that up until just before she got diagnosed with cancer. I was in my 30s. Come on, guys. When are we going to be in this energy of realizing that kids are just little humans? And of course they don't understand. But if you keep telling them they don't understand, they're going to figure it out one way or another. Tell them not to press the red button. Don't give them a reason. Just tell them not to touch the red button. What's going to happen? They're going to go press the red button because they want to know what's going on. Versus if you say, you know what, we don't press that red button because if you press that red button, this, and this. is going to happen and it's going to cause this. They're going to be like, oh, okay, they're going to associate the consequence with the action. But if you just tell them no to the action, there's no consequence that comes with that, and there's no association. Think about telling a 13-year-old, why we don't have sex, because you could potentially get pregnant. You could potentially get somebody pregnant. You're a child. Do you want to raise a child right now? Or would you rather have fun and go out with your friends and be able to party with your friends? Or do you want to figure out how to go and get a job and support a family like what I do? And then take them on a day with you. Be like, this is what I have to do every day to support you. All actions have consequence. A good consequence or a bad consequence. It doesn't matter. But it's not just on the child. It is on us as adults. And that's why I wanted to bring this topic up, because it just was weighing so heavily on me. And I realized that you, as a people, the collective, we need a reminder. We need a reminder that we're the ones that are in charge of our parents, of our children, not the schools, not their friends, not someone else. Us. It's not difficult. It's not easy, but it is simple. And are you willing to live in 15 minutes of being uncomfortable to ensure a lifelong success for your child? Being open and honest with a child can change the world, because now you're giving a child a reason to understand that everything that they do and everything that they bring to the table can potentially be good, or it can potentially be off track. Not bad, because I don't think bad is necessarily a good way to explain it, because that's duality again. But everything does have a consequence. But if you don't explain that consequence to them, then they're going to find out on their own. And then now, as a parent, most times what happens is when they find out on their own, you blame the child. But really, the responsibility lies on our shoulders. They don't know. And it's up to us to teach them. This is what I have for you guys. I love you so much. Please like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel down below. Set that notification bell so you always know when the next video does go live. And with that being said, until next time, go forth boldly, my fellow creators, and courageously find creative ways to rise above in life, laughter, and love. Until we see each other next time. Mwah. Peace out. I love y'all. Bye.